Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune on the 15th day of August 2019. Well, still no jury duty for my husband, so I'm here this morning doing this video, and I didn't have to do it last night, which would feel really weird, but I would have done it. Well, this is the last one for this week, and so we won't meet again until Monday. So if he has to go tomorrow, at least I won't have to worry about when I'm going to get this done. But it kind of looks like the way the numbers are progressing, his probably will not come up this week. It is what I'm thinking, but I don't know. We'll check again tonight and see. But I would think that he will likely have to go next week. So that will be nice just to get out of here for the day, and hopefully he just has one day at this and he doesn't have to go back, but he'll still have to call in, I guess you have to be available those 2 weeks irrespective of how many you sit on. You have to still, if you get called in, you've gotta go, and then you gotta get selected. And I don't know, I've never served on a jury, so I'm just sort of following along with what he's doing and learning about it from him. But so far, he sat and watched a video for the orientation, and I don't know, I guess he learned some things from it he didn't know, which is nice. But in any event, today's Thursday, and as it is Thursday, it is the day of Jupiter. The Jupiter, or rather the Thursday correspondence, have not gone up yet on the blog. I was outside gathering. I was harvesting this morning. I harvested some beans and some strawberries and Thai pepper and dandelion, and let's see, California poppy, some mullein flower for some triple oil I'm making. You do that in stages. You put a bunch in, and then a couple weeks later you put some more in, and so basically you're making what's called a triple oleate of mullein oil, and it's good for pain. It's good for earaches. You can put a couple drops in an ear for earaches. So it's just a stronger way of making the oil. Otherwise, you could just, soak some flowers in some oil and be done with it. But this one's done in stages. So anyhow, I was out doing that, and so I did not finish the blog post for today, but that will go up here while I watch this thing before I post it. I'll finish that and get that going. So that'll be up. Look for that on the blog at imsteppingaside.com if you're into just having magical correspondences that you use in witchcraft. You can just go there and look and see, okay, what can I do today? There's a lot of stuff on there. So, I tried to create a variety. My most recent book that I published is called Witch Notes, and it's got herbs in it and teas and correspondences. It's the little book of correspondences I've always wanted to have. I have a lot of books of correspondences. I purchase other witches' grimoires if they publish them. Just to mostly get correspondences, not really. I like to see what they do, because they have different traditions. Anne Mora did one, and it's a grimoire of a green witch. That's a really nice one, and the way she's got that thing laid out, oh my God, it's just incredible. And then I can't think of the other woman, but it's a really big book, and where is it? Maybe it's over here. Oh yeah, but I've got a bunch of crystals and stuff sitting on it, but it's sitting back here. It's this book right here, and it's called A Witch's Book of Correspondences. Oh, Victoria Briggs, that's the name of the woman who wrote it. I couldn't get it in Kindle. I can only get it in paperback, but it's nice. And again, it's massive. Another good one to have is by Skinner, and that's the Complete Magicians Tables. That's really fascinating too. That's got everything under the sun in it. Everything you could possibly need is in that book. But I just wanted to have something that was just a quick and easy thing to grab when, I just need to look up something that I can't remember. And so I wrote Witch Notes. That's my most recent one. In fact, well, where is it? Is this it here? Oh, here's one. This is just a proof copy. Now this is the paperback, okay, and it won't have this thing through it. That's the proof copy. But then the Kindle version now, It's actually got a different cover. It's got a black, and it's black and it's got a moon on it. It's a witchy looking thing. I did the Kindle one first and then I did the paperback, and the right, um, I couldn't get the right finish for it. I couldn't get that. It just looked too weird. And so I had another cover waiting just in case. And that's the one I ended up doing for the paperback. So anyhow, but that was just the thing, I didn't want anything really big. And so you can see it's not very big, right? But it covers everything, really, everything that I work with anyway. And so that's why I did it. And I did it and I published it. I thought, well, maybe people might want to, have something that's smaller, that's just got pretty much a little bit of everything in it. So anyway, I just thought that I would share some of that on the blog, and because I think correspondences now, some of them are going to remain the same, obviously, for the days, but then the astrological stuff, the elements change and all of that. So half of it changes every day, depending on, what my astrological software says. So is going on. And so I'll tell you where the moon is and, all of that kind of stuff. So the kinds of things that I was doing in the moon posts, I've sort of blended into some of it, at least, into this daily correspondence series I'm doing. So anyhow, check that out if you want to, if you're interested in such things, and see if it might be of help to you when you're working magic. So we like to shore things up when things, and get all of our energies just in line, when we're trying to cast our intentions. And so, it's just nice to have a little reference book. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you today a little bit, Jupiter's in Sagittarius, promising an adventuresome nature. It also talks about maybe being into philosophy, or maybe you're someone who might be an inspiring teacher. In the third house, it reinforces it. Stressing, really great communication skills. Jupiter is one of those chatty planets. It's all about expansion. And now that it's out of its retrograde, it's really, you're going to feel the outward expansion. When it's in retrograde, you're going to want to expand internally. You have its inner expansion. So you're going to want to do inner work during that time, maybe let go of things that no longer serve you and all of that, perceptions and beliefs and things that just aren't really working, that maybe aren't in sync with really what's going on. So that was a time during its retrograde when you can do that. Now it's time to express yourself. And Jupiter's wonderful for doing that. In Sagittarius, great teachers. Sagittarians are great teachers. My husband is a Sagittarian, and when we taught Kempo karate, we had a school for about 9 years. And my husband is just one of those wonderful teachers. I survived him and became a black belt under his teaching, and he's just one of those guys that just infects the room, and you just want to follow along with his energy. So he was a great teacher. We're not teaching anymore, but when Jerry taught Kempo, it was really awesome. So we did that for about 9 years. We had a school, and so I know firsthand how Sagittarians can be really good teachers and really inspiring and get people to want to learn and do what they need to do to excel and all of that. So anyhow, but we also have Jupiter is also in square with a square aspect with Black Moon Lilith. Now, Black Moon Lilith is all about the wild side, right? Our inner Lilith, right? And how we're going to stand up against the boundaries, and we're just going to blow right through them, right? And so what Jupiter is asking Black Moon Lilith to do in the aspect, the square aspect, is embrace the wild aspect of self, and allow any healing that might need to take place. Just allow it, bring things into alignment. It's not that you want to let go of the wild self, because you don't ever want to let go of your Lilith. But at the same time, you can just kind of tweak it a little bit, and that's what I think that Jupiter's asking us to do today with that. A square with Neptune is asking us to learn some self-discipline. We're very artistic and talented, but maybe we're not so self-disciplined about it. And so maybe we don't apply ourselves the way we should. We also might be careless with our possessions, so we might need to learn how to handle money a little bit better. We probably don't want to take too many risks, even though, so Neptune is actually kind of slowing down Jupiter's expansion a little bit, I think, there. Then we have this thing called a quincunx, which sounds strange, doesn't it? It almost sounds vulgar, but it's when planets are not conjunct; they're in conjunct with one another. And Jupiter is in quincunx with the North Node, and which isn't actually the North Node of the Moon, which isn't actually a planet. It's just a position vis-a-vis the Sun, and where the Moon is falling in relation to that. So you have the North and South nodes of the Moon, and the South node deals with the past, basically, or past lives, past life influences. And then the North Node deals with the present moment and also the future, where we're going. And when Jupiter's in quincunx with the North Node, what we're really doing is we're exploring our convictions and maybe realigning them. Maybe we'll change philosophies. Maybe we spend a lifetime trying to figure out what our philosophy is. Maybe we hop from one religion to the next trying to figure that out. Basically, your moral values don't necessarily are not essentially or completely in sync with everyone else's, and so you kind of have to figure that out of where that's going to go in order to succeed in your life goals. Otherwise, you tend to just always be in conflict with people. So those are the kinds of energies that Jupiter is casting upon us in all of its glory today. And so let's go ahead then and get on with the reading, now that we've chatted a little bit about what Jupiter's influence. I think I'm going to start doing that, though, talk about whatever planet's influencing on the days I do this, and we'll see what their aspects are and see if that can also give us a little more information about our day. But let's get started with our first card. If this is your first time here, welcome. I take the 13th card each time for randomness sake, and oh Lord, I've got the King of Pentacles again. Didn't we have him yesterday? So we're talking about a guy here who's an authority, and he's somebody who's got a lot of possessions. You see the grapes and the oak leaves and the grape leaves, and you see strength, you see abundance, you see the big pentacle on his lap, you see the ram's heads above. You see, if you look very closely, you can see the one right here. You can't really see the other one because he's sort of turned in his throne there. Now, the king is not looking at us directly. He's kind of looking a little bit toward the future, just sort of askance toward the future. But he's not really involved with anybody. The kingdom is behind him, and he's really just about himself. Most kings are. They have a difficult time extending compassion, although they can. Of all the kings, he's probably the one that can do that the best. You would think it would be the King of Cups, wouldn't you? Being, that cups is the water element and water is emotion, so you would think. But no, he's typically more passive aggressive than he is anything else. So, but this king is really about himself. He's not about the kingdom behind him. He's about, if they benefit, fine, but he's very grounded in his own reality, not necessarily the reality of others. Although there are times, though, that he does rise to the occasion, and he does do that. So, and of all of them, I would think that he would be the only one that we could trust to do that. So let's see, though, what he has to say here. We don't yet know what this is about, if this is about the qualities here, maybe some self-centeredness, about amassing your own wealth at the expense of others, maybe. But at the same time, we don't know that, do we? This could simply indicate an older man of authority that we're dealing with today, and not necessarily the quality. So let's draw another card and see if we can get some more information. Well, again, we're going to have a court day like we did yesterday. We have the Knight of Wands, so the fire element is coming in. You see the orangish looking horse, the reddish brown, I should say, probably. He's got a club in his hand, his right hand. Now, they're getting ready to go. Okay, the horse is rearing up. So they're getting ready to go, but he doesn't have his visor down, so they're not in battle yet. The knights are catalytic. Wands is about manifestation. It's about manifestation of will. It's about creativity. It's about new experiences. And so clearly, the knights go off on their grail quest. And so they're out there, just sort of looking around and doing what they do. And maybe they're exploring, or maybe they're on a mission of some kind, or maybe they're in battle. You just don't know here. But Wands is about the fire element. You don't see much in the distance, although you do see 3 pyramids, what looks like. So perhaps they're on a Knights Templar quest or something, maybe they're headed to the Holy Land. I'm related to the Bruces. And you see in the ancestry, you'll see that so-and-so carried the heart of Robert the Bruce to the Holy Land, and I'm related to that so-and-so as well. So it's just kind of, when I see this one, I think, oh, they must be taking Robert the Bruce's heart back to the Holy Land or something. So basically, we've got some grounded energy with Pentacles, that's the earth element, and we've got some will or some catalytic energy with Wands. So let's leave it at that right now. And hopefully we won't draw another court card, or we might just be dealing with energy today. It's possible that the king has sent the knight on a mission, maybe to expand the kingdom somehow. Or again, maybe the King of Pentacles is, although I wouldn't consider Robert the Bruce being a King of Pentacles necessarily, he might have been in his older years, maybe, I don't know. I can't remember how old he was when he was killed, or when he died. I can't remember if he was killed. He might have been murdered. I don't know. I'll do that. I'll look, and I'll before this thing posts, and I'll put it in the comments. I'll check again and see in the ancestry just exactly what happened to him. I don't have my iPad over here, or I could do it really quickly. But anyway, we'll take a look here, and hopefully we don't have another court card. Maybe we'll get a queen. Because if we do, then maybe we're talking about family. No, I got the 7 of Swords. Now, you can look at it different ways. Theft of intellectual property. Or you can look at it as leveling the playing field. And given that it's a 7, I think that's really how I'm going to start interpreting this card. You have the knights and the troops in the background in their tents. This is not a kingdom back there. This is the army that has left their swords outside. They left their weaponry outside, their strategy outside. Swords is about the air element. It's about our intellect, and so this could indicate that someone from the town has come. Maybe they know that that the army in those tents, that the soldiers don't mean them, they don't mean to be helping them, that they're going to take from them. And as we know from history, those things weren't good. They were bloody. The towns were usually, the women were raped, the towns were pillaged. Any wealth that was there was taken and stolen from them. And so when you have a situation like that, the towns and the villages are rarely able to deal with it. They don't have the ability to do it. They don't have the weaponry, they don't have the troop strength, and so they have to approach it in a different way. And so what this guy is doing here, I think, is he's basically leveling the playing field. He's coming from the town, and he's taking some of they've taken the eye off the ball, haven't they? And they've left their stuff out in front. And now this guy's taking their armaments. Well, it could be that he's taking a cache of weaponry to help them, or it could be that he's also leveling the playing field so that they have a little more, maybe he's listening, and he's getting it, he's taking advantage of the strategy. Maybe they're in the tents and they're discussing the battle strategy, and maybe he's listening to that, and he's going to take back that information. So it could be swords, it could be, weaponry, but it could also be information that he's taking back. Maybe he's found a way to infiltrate and pretend to be one of them. So it seems to me that what this may be here is we have a difference in power. So perhaps you're either someone who is in a position of authority who can then tell someone to go do something. Well, what you tell them matters because it's going to affect someone else possibly in a way that's not fair, that's harmful, that isn't just. And so in the seven of swords, what we're seeing there is someone coming back and saying, not so fast. So depending on which side of the equation you're on here, this could have something to do with maybe at your job or something. Maybe you've got people that are behaving in ways that are harmful to you, that are maybe preventing you. I know there's a local store in town here. I saw it on Twitter. And this particular chain, it's a chain store, and it's in other states. It's not just here. But they don't, in fact, it's Fred Meyer. And apparently, they don't pay their female workers the same. They have them on a different tract, income tract, wage tract, than they put men on. And so it ends up being that the female employees doing the same work, the same amount of time in grade, all of that, are making roughly $200 a month less than their male counterparts. So I won't be shopping at Freddy's for a while until I see this, resolve itself, unless there's absolutely no other place in town that has something that I need, and then I will go for that one thing. And if I absolutely cannot wait, I will do that. But otherwise, I won't. I won't shop there anymore. Not until they fix the inequity. And it just feels like what we have here is either, our government, of course, is doing some things again. They're up to no good. Now, I guess if you're going to be an immigrant, you have to be an immigrant of worth. You have to swear up and down that you will never need, you have to come with your own insurance, health insurance. You're never going to need public assistance. Nothing is ever going to happen. The only way we're going to let you in. So we have basically, you have to find another way behind the scenes to give yourself an advantage. When people are doing things that make no sense, that are being authoritarian, that maybe are going out and about and causing trouble for other people, because this is not about the home of the King of Pentacles. This is about somewhere else. You're watching the knight going somewhere else. And so this isn't happening in his own kingdom. This is something they're going out and about and they're wreaking havoc in someone else's life. And it's not right. And so somehow or another, we need to level that playing field. So right now, that's all we have here energetically is a 7 for the cards. We have a 6th day being the 15th. And so you're looking at higher self-influences. Let's do one more card, though. See if we can get maybe one more piece of information. Well, we have a 9 of Cups here. So emotional fulfillment. So something must have happened. Whatever we were able to do in the 7 here to level that playing field resulted in a much better outcome. We end up with the 9 is about completion. And here we have just a happy fellow, don't we? Just completely happy. His arms are not crossed in a defensive posture because his legs are comfortable, aren't they? They're comfortably placed. They complain about that in men on subways and buses, don't they, when they sit like that? I forget what that's called, manspreading or something. It's like mansplaining. Don't you love it when they do that? I had a guy tell me about witchcraft. Yeah. On social media and about witch burnings. Let's take a rune. So I think that what we did here in the Seven of Swords is that we took command of the situation. Basically, we saw that something was headed in our direction, or maybe it was here, and we're like, no, we're not going to do this. This isn't going to happen again. I'm not going to sit here and be the victim any longer. I'm going to go and I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And I'm going to stand in my own power, and I'm going to try and level this playing field. I'm going to get information, facts, whatever I got to have. I'm going to do it however I need to do it, but something's about to happen to me that isn't right. And I'm not going to let that happen this time. I'm going to do everything in my power to break through and express Theras as. The third rune of the Elder Futhark represents Thor's hammer. Looks like the thorn, doesn't it? It's about defense. And again, I think it aligns well with the seven. When we do that, then maybe we have a little more fulfillment, a little more security in our lives, emotional security, perhaps. We feel safe. Maybe these two individuals and their antics were making us feel less than safe. Something's coming at us, and given that the knight is going toward the past, that indicates foundation to me. So there's something about the foundation of our lives, the structure of our lives, that's about to be affected by somebody in control. And now the Seven of Swords is saying, not so fast. We're not going to do that this time. We aren't playing your game this time. We're going to find the truth here. We're going to get the truth, get to the heart of the matter, get to the truth of the matter. And when the final, and we're going to use Thurisaz to do it. We're going to use Thor's hammer to break through obstacles in our path, to create new beginnings, to neutralize enemies and opposition. Where is the one I'm looking for? Regeneration, breakthrough, something catalyzes change. Dynamic defense and protection, but there's something here, what opposes you. Oh, okay. Warning against acting in anger and avoiding impulsivity. So this tells us then that this is not an impulsive action, okay? This was thought through. This is part of strategy. This wasn't just, oh my God, I'm going to go steal something, It wasn't impulsive action. This was something that the townspeople, or at least this individual, if this is just an individual we're talking about, but the townspeople got together and said, no, so let's have a plan of action. We'll send this guy in. We'll get some more information. We'll find out what their battle plans are. Maybe the swords are representing leaving the map outside. And this guy comes in and he's looking at the map of where they're going, right? Who knows? But here, we're gaining some extra clarity. We're taking 5 of those 7 swords and we're getting extra clarity in them, aren't we? And obviously something happened because we're a lot happier. We were successful in this. Well, let's look at the geomancy runes. Okay, so to do the last one here, I've got a single dot for fire. These have either 2 dots or a single dot. And this one I pulled was a single dot. So that's an active principle for will. And then where is air? There's air. I've got 2 dots for air, and that's going to be a passive influence. So we're not going to really assert ourselves communication-wise here. Here is 2 dots for water. Oh my. Yeah. Okay. So the underlying issue here is self-imprisonment, or imprisonment by authority. The geomancy rune that I drew here, or I threw, I should say. Where is mine? There it is. Get my little Sharpie here. I drew Carcer. Carcer, and you'll see, I mean, even visually, it looks like a prison. That's what it is. I do a monthly geomancy reading at the beginning of each month, along with a monthly tarot reading. And so you can get an idea, if you go back and look at that over at imsteppingaside.com, you can get an idea of what a geomancy reading looks like. Ultimately, when I do these, um, when I do them, I put them in a shield chart. And I basically throw the first four, and from those first four, it's read right to left. From those first four, the rest of the shield chart is created. So in this case, Carcer is about self-imprisonment, and you can almost see that, it's like you're within those, in the center of that. You've got an active principle for will and for foundation, but for air and water, emotions and intellect, or intellect and emotions, they're very passive. And so you're allowing things to happen, that maybe you have other choices. And what we see here, the things that are happening have to do with the king and the knight. It would be nice to separate the knight out, but we can't. Okay, the knight is part of the court. And so the knight is likely doing the bidding of the king. Given that he's looking back at the king, he's taking orders from the king. So, but when we're, and so there's imprisonment that's about to happen. Something is about to happen that's going to be restrictive. So the decisions that are being made, the individual carrying it out, they're going out there to do something that is restricting to people instead of freeing, instead of allowing its resistance. And so with Carcer, we either have to break out of our regular mode and take a risk into something else. And what do we hear about the risk thing here? Jupiter square Neptune, self-discipline. The king may need to learn to not be careless with his possessions, and all of that, because clearly the swords have been left out. But we learned that, didn't we? We already know that, don't we? The individual in the card. And the key may be in the Jupiter square Black Moon Lilith, where we use the energy of Thurisaz to break out of that which really is not working for us. We want the wild within to allow us to break free from restriction, is what we're doing here, and to come into a better balance, though. We can't forget the 7 here, and that's about balance, balancing shadow side with spirit. And that's really what Jupiter square Black Moon Lilith is really talking about, is how do we reconcile all of that within? Clearly, the king doesn't know how to do that, but because the king wants to send his knights out to go and take from people again, right? And imprison them. And that's what the underlying foundation of the problem is with Carcer, is that we're trying to be imprisoned somehow. Prevented from moving, prevented from excelling, prevented from progressing, whatever we're being prevented from doing, that's the Carcer moment. And that's the underlying energy of the king and the knight, as I see it. And for us then, where we break through with Thurisaz, and that's where the higher self energy comes in. Thurisaz is representative of the god Thor, and so we're talking about. And if you view Thor and Odin and all of them, I view them as extraterrestrials that were here, but because I do believe they were real. But what you're talking about here is higher sentient beings, okay, informing the process. And so since that's what we all are higher sentient beings, we're the spirit that informs these bodies. We incarnate into these bodies, but we are not these bodies. So basically what a 6 energy day is telling us is to allow higher self to guard and guide the process and to inform the process. And to break through, to use that strength, that energy to break through obstacles that are reflective of ego and bring it more in line with spirit, so that balance can occur, so that people are actually, so that their sovereignty, their dignity is preserved instead of taken from them. And it kind of feels like that's what the king and the knight are about here today. But for us to be safe and all of that, we can't just lay down and take things. Now, maybe in terms of society, all you can do is vote or call your legislators. Not that they listen necessarily, depending on who they are. Some do, but not all of them do. But so maybe your greatest tool is your vote. But at the same time, if you can effect change in your local areas, you can also do that, by going to city council meetings and things like that and trying to get involved and making your voice heard if you don't like what's going on. Because it really feels like there's a separation here between authority figures and the rest of us, basically. And so what are they doing? We already know that our government is up to no good. We already know that. And so there's just way too many things that are happening that do not reflect who the American people are. So we know that there's something going on there. So this may have to do with the greater, unity that we all share here. Or it could simply be something in your personal life where you need to get a better strategy, because if somebody's doing something that's going to harm you, you need to figure out a way to make that not happen, to gain the upper hand, or to at least level the playing field so that you're not impacted as much, maybe. It may involve going to another job. It may indeed mean that, you may have that stress to deal with, but at the same time, you cannot lay down and take it either. You can't be passive in this moment at all. Because things are so serious right now. That's what I get from this. Things are so serious that there needs to be some dramatic things happening to step outside your comfort zone, to allow the Jupiter energy to step outside your comfort zone and manifest something better for yourself and gain a little control so that you can end up here with emotional satisfaction. You're not, in other words, you don't want to live in fear anymore, do you? So there you go. Well, cool. I guess that's it for today. I will see you again on Monday somehow. Either I'm going to do it at night on Sunday and publish it that night for Monday, and you'll know, you can tell when it got published what I had to do. And I'll also tell you. But if not, then I'll see you at the regular time on Monday, and we'll get this, these usually go up somewhere around noon or maybe a little before. And have a wonderful weekend. If you've got a garden that needs harvesting, just go out and just go harvest everything. My tomatoes are starting to come on. They're not there yet. So, that's going to be massive when I do that. I don't know. I'm glad I'm staging things. I don't have everything coming due at once now. The beans are coming due right now. The blackberries, my husband's outside picking blackberries. I think he has his hip waders on and he's getting the ones in the pond to hang over there. Those are the best. They are the best. And so he's been making blackberry vinaigrette and raspberry vinaigrette, and he's been doing blackberry wine and raspberry wine. So we're going to have a lot of stuff for the winter here, I guess. So, but don't worry, there won't be any drunk readings. I promise. I don't drink alcohol that much, very rarely. If he pours me a half a glass of wine, I might drink half of it. So I don't know, but it's yummy. The dandelion he did is really, really good. I really like that one. That one I drink all of, but it's medicinal. So anyhow, we'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for coming by, and click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that, and come back and leave comments if you like. If you've got another interpretation, just leave it. I don't have all the answers. No tarot reader does. And so these things might strike you in a way that brings someone else tremendous insight. So, and helps them along their path and along their journey. So in any event, we'll see you Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.